Good morning, South Florida.
And welcome to the Brooklyn Cafe Morning Show.
Grab your coffee as we brew up the talk of the day.
From the latest scoop around town
to feel-good stories and messages of hope.
A few jokes and live calling.
Highlighting local businesses.
Discussing hot trends and news stories.
A dash of feel-good nostalgia.
I love those morning cartoons.
Keeping up with upcoming events.
Sometimes trying and delicious foods.
Weekly horoscope updates.
An occasional flying duck.
Some sparkle dust.
Don't forget my bell.
And my wand.
With our brew crew laughing on set.
So grab your coffee, your bagel, donut, or any breakfast as we get you up and ready for the rest of your day.
And don't leave us hanging. Give us a follow. Comment live or call right into the show at 888-994-4995 Studio B.
Whether it's a tip of the day or just to say good morning, we'd love to hear from you.
From Amp Media Production Studio, it's
the Brooklyn Cafe Morning Show.
Dawn, where's the snooze button?
Ready, it's time to get up. We got a show to do. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Hang tight, guys. Pressing the snooze one more time.
And it's time to do a show.
Morning time, snooze button.
Flag burning. Let's get ready to rumble!
Or vote.
Or
Let's
vote.
get ready,
Or
get
vote.
ready to vote.
Ain't there for holy smokes. Welcome to the morning show. November is in the air.
November 4th, you know what tomorrow is?
November 5th.
Election day it is.
It is.
All over this great country that we live in. It is Tuesday election day coming up.
I'm going to tell you, I went to vote on Saturday. I had to go to 4 different places. Then they have a site that has these balloons, red, yellow, and green. I didn't know what it meant, so I went to 3 reds.
Oh, it means they were full, they were busy?
Oh my God, 4 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
So I said to Linda, let's head south to Boca. So on the way south, I passed where I live. And I said, that's cool. So I went down a mile and a half and came back.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in 20 minutes. I had to wait.
We good, Nate?
Yeah, I think Vince's camera.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that they changed the way things are voted. First, you do one thing and then you go over to another thing to put your ballot in. Did you do that?
I don't know. I haven't voted in person in a long time. I've been voting by mail since COVID, so I don't know.
You haven't voted yet.
No, I'm gonna vote tomorrow.
Hey, you voted?
Yeah, I did.
In
So you
person or
vote-
by mail?
In person.
So you vote and then you take the ballot and you put it in the second machine?
Yeah, pretty much. I just went in. They done the whole thing information. They gave me the ballots. I checked my name. I checked the marks from who I voted for. Gave it to the lady. Put in the machine. Got my sticker, and I was out.
I gotta tell you, I didn't realize that when you're in the first machine, you do your thing, and you're supposed to ask for the paper to take it to the second machine. So I put it back in the first machine.
What do you mean, what
Oh.
paper? The ballot?
The ballot is it comes out in this electronic paper,
Oh, okay.
and then you take that and you put it in a sleeve, and then you
Privacy
take that.
sleeve.
You take that to the next one, so you walk around.
I think it was always like that.
I don't remember seeing it like that.
Like
I
they
used
give
to
you the
hand
blank
it to
ballot,
somebody.
and then you get the privacy sleeve, then you bring it to the machine, but someone watches you put it in the machine.
Right, but you don't give it to somebody anymore. They're not doing that anymore.
You put it in the machine
You
yourself?
put it in the machine yourself, the top slot.
Okay.
And then it goes through and they say, okay, take your sticker. They don't even hand you a sticker anymore. You got to take it off a table.
Did you know ahead of time who you were, not president, I know you knew that, but did you know all the other elections, the amendments, what you were voting
I got
for?
the ballot sent to me early.
So you did it ahead of time?
Yes.
You-
And I read it and I did my research on it and I did what I did.
I'm probably gonna do my research at some point today before
You got to
I
do your
go in
research
tomorrow.
because otherwise you go in blindly and you got, I think president, most people know what they want. I think amendments,
Yeah.
most
I
people
think
know
I
what they
have
want.
the ballot to send you the sample. I'll send it to you. I'll look at my phone. If I have it, I'll send it so you can read it. And then you do your research. It's not complicated.
It's kind
but
of complicated.
The way they ask the questions is
The
complicated.
amendments are complicated, right?
Yes.
With the wording of them,
Yes.
you got to read them.
Yes, you have to read them, and sometimes you're voting where they're accepting it and you're not accepting it, or
Yeah.
or they're not accepting it and you are accepting it. It's just really
Like the penny tax, the homestead
they
exemption,
have sent tax.
right? There's
You got to read it carefully to see what you're really voting for.
That's right. And
It's complicated.
there's a lot of complications going on right now.
See what I said though? If English is not your first language, it's really complicated.
You know, I gotta.
yeah.
I gotta. If it's not your first language.
If it's not your first language, it's just for you. It's just built.
Do
But
they
they
have
have
ballots
it.
in Spanish?
Yeah, Spanish, Chinese, Korean, and
You
Haitian.
can get a different ballot?
Anything you want.
Ah, okay.
Not a ballot. You get a computer. Everything is now computer. You hit it with a little.
Oh, you
rubber
didn't get a
mallet.
paper ballot?
No, it's a little rubber mallet thing. A little, what they call that? An obelisk?
Stylus.
A stylus.
Really?
Okay, so it's on. So basically, you enter your options in on a computer, and then it'll like print out your
Yeah,
results.
answers.
And
Oh,
then
you
it prints
take-
it
and
out.
And you take that over to the next
Interesting,
computer.
okay.
Interesting.
There is absolutely no room for error.
So no hanging chads.
No, there's no more chats. And if you don't vote for something, at the bottom it says, I am not voting for this category. So either you do vote or you don't. And there's write in. If
Really?
you want to write in, like I hit, and I wrote my name, Frederick Santori,
Okay.
What'd you put yourself for?
president.
Nice. Nice. Good choice.
I didn't do that. I'm just saying you can do that. And there is absolutely, and then I put it back in to see what would happen, and it went all over again, and it says, do you want to change anything? I said, no. I said, "Drink." And they gave it to me again, and then I said to the lady, what do I do with this now? She says, you got to go vote. And what was this? Oh, that's the ballot. Now you're going to go vote. I said, okay.
What do you mean?
You're voting the ballot. You're filling out the ballot. So you hit the box, green, red. It turns green when you hit your answer.
Okay, like who you're voting for.
Right. And a
Okay.
paper comes out with all your greens. You take that over to the next aisle, and there's where you cast your vote. And you do it. You don't hand it to nobody, because there was this thing where you handed it to people and they didn't do it right.
All right, and then they were afraid they weren't putting it in the right way. All right, so they really got all of these details ironed out now in
Oh
Florida.
my God. I'm going to tell you, there's no bubbles to this thing.
Well, people say in Florida we will know tomorrow.
Yeah, because it's fast.
But the other states, we may not know who's president. Some are predicting Saturday.
Because Georgia and something, I think they do it by hand.
Some are
Yeah.
predicting not until Saturday, at least Thursday. They're saying between Thursday and Saturday, we will not know who's the next
It's
president of the
stupid.
United States. Is that crazy?
It's stupid to
That
do.
is.
shit.
I mean, I would say leave it until it's all accounted for, and then, obviously.
Well, there's overseas
out.
ballots and everything else. that
Oh,
has to
man.
be accounted.
Because people, oh,
There's-
wow.
there's
a lot of
there's so much to
complications.
account for, like
Yeah, but
having
if you have
having
if
different
you
parts of
win-
the country
if
know.
he wins or she wins by X number, and overseas is a Y amount, it's not going to make a difference, because they know how many overseas ballots there are. So they'll know a number. Once they hit a certain number, it's done. So,
Interesting. Wow.
but
Get
I
out
know
and
that
vote.
they're coming out in droves. People are coming out in droves there, and they're very vocal, and they're very, and I had a conversation with my cousin in Puerto Rico, and my other cousin is in Chicago, and my other cousin is in Oklahoma. I don't know where Louis is, maybe California. And there are 4 different views of this election.
But there's only 2
coming.
choices for president. So are you 50-50?
No,
Your
no,
family?
No. I don't know who. First thing when we started the conversation, I says I don't care who you're voting for.
Right.
What I want you to do is respect one another like we used to do when we were growing up.
Were you all on a conference call?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I said that we're going to respect one another and talk to one another like people. Otherwise, hang up. Don't be part of this conversation if you want to have it.
Who initiated the call?
Me and Juji, because he said my cousin Louis wasn't talking to him, and then Romy wasn't talking to Louis. And I said, why? I said, why are you guys fighting? You don't understand.
Juji, Romy, Louie. I feel like you guys need your own movie.
The only one who was missing was Corpy. Corpy, I should have gotten Corpy on the phone. But the object of the game is that everybody misunderstood. There was so much misunderstanding going on.
Yep.
And Juji explained to me that Puerto Rico has an 82% garbage problem, where 82% of the landfills are used up. I said, Juji, give me a break. That's not what was intended by the joke, but okay, 82%. So what are they going to do to fix that problem? So he was talking a lot about Congress, what Congress must do to help the situation. Don't get it twisted. The president, I understand, is the leader of the country. He's your image. I get it. But it's Congress where the problems really are. If we want things to work in this country, we have to have them be on the same page, and that's where the problems begin.
Is it different? Did you hear different stories from Juji in Puerto Rico versus your cousins in the continental United
Yes,
States?
in Chicago is different. California is different. You know, those are allegedly. I think California is a blue state. I don't know what Chicago is. And Romy was with Juji. They were on the red side of the state and stuff, and they were arguing the benefits. They were making comments like, you know, you're not voting because for personality. This is not a personality contest. This is about who can get things done. And I gotta admit, 50% of that is correct. But personality has a lot to do with it too. When you're insulting different groups, ethnic groups, people, women, men, you know, how much of that garbage you gonna take?
Oh my gosh, I've heard so many things from the husband saying, well, I send out every year my recommendations for everyone in the family to vote that way, and they all vote that way, to
I know people like
your
that.
vote is your vote, to women are voting to negate their husband's vote. You shouldn't vote to negate your husband's, you should vote to amplify your voice. So there's so many, and
You should always just vote for yourself.
you should vote for yourself. You
Vote
should
for
do what you
your
want to do.
values. Vote for what you want. Anyone else in your family or your friends, they don't matter. You vote for your values.
Do you have sisters?
I have a sister.
Did she vote?
As far as I know, I don't know.
But she's old enough to vote.
Yes.
And your mom?
I
She's gonna
don't. I
vote.
don't. I don't think we've voted yet. But
So do they have similar opinions? I mean, as the guys versus the females?
I
Or a difference of
mean,
opinions?
I would say as far as presidents, at least, we all lean to
To
one
one?
side over the other. But I wouldn't be able to say about
The other
anything
side.
else.
Yeah, it's funny because my sister leans to one side.
Mm.
Punto. Good, better, and different. I don't.
Right.
I go with who I think is the better person for the country at the time. And boy, she must have had a doozy with Juji on the phone
Oh, she was on the phone too?
yesterday, Friday. And then he texted me. He asked me a real bizarre question, which I didn't even answer. And then he apologized because he says, I guess I shouldn't have asked that way. I was heated. And why do you get heated? You know, if your candidate loses, then you tip your hat. And then you move on.
Oh, it's just going to be,
It's
going to be interesting.
It
Honestly.
is what it is.
All right, so did you see Kamala was on SNL Saturday night?
That was hilarious.
All right, which was hilarious. And Chelsea had told us, I guess, the rumor mill in D.C. had trickled down, and she texted, she goes, rumor has it she's going to be on. But now the FCC is looking into,
Right, because you can't do it that way.
but is that, and I don't know the legalities, is it you have to offer them each fair share, or
Yes,
they actually have to show up?
They had to invite Trump.
Which they did,
Well, that's what the FCC wants to investigate.
but apparently he chose not to be there.
If he chose not to be there, that's okay.
That's my question
But
to
the
you.
question is, how was the invitation sent? Was it come and deal with her? It depends on how the invitation was sent. Yes, I had. You saw that I had the same deal with Rick on South Florida.
So that's what made me think of it, because here it is now, FCC and NBC, and the ABCs of what it is, and this is what we do for a living. So I was always under the impression that you had to equally extend the invitation to both sides.
But both the verbiage for each one has to be identical.
Has to be identical.
Yeah.
But if one side says, I don't want to do it, the other side can still do it, correct?
Correct. But then the side that's not doing it may ask you a question. You see, this is where it gets great. So let's say you send a letter to Dawn and I, right? And she's doing it and I'm not.
Right.
I'm going to ask you 15 questions before I tell you I'm not doing it. And therein lies the problem. You see, you're not supposed to answer. The
Right.
letter speaks for itself. Follow the letter, and the letter speaks for itself. Because if you answer it, you change the letter.
Right.
It was hilarious, though.
It was.
And-
the laugh part, see the laughing one?
It was the best. It was so funny.
I
And,
don't laugh like that, do I? Yeah, pretty much.
and I'm so proud of her for doing it. But then they also expressed who they were voting for in that. And I don't know, but Fox News has one position.
Because
Oh,
they,
yes.
CNBC has a
because they're
position.
too
Yeah.
equal. They're divided.
MSNBC has a position. So is it any different, and I guess this is ethical, for a show, like if you and I sat here and said, this is who I voted for, freedom of speech, we're able to do that.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes and no.
But NBC, are they able to say who they vote for?
Yes and no.
Okay, what? Tell me.
Everybody's getting investigated, including South Florida Oldies, because of their
Tell me why
midday
yes and no.
Their morning show. Because you're not supposed to use brainwashing for political endeavors. And they learned, which is part of what the Nazis did.
Because you're supposed to be, news outlets are supposed to be impartial,
Right.
but like a
But
lot
they're
of them
so
aren't.
not impartial.
Not impartial.
I know, a lot of them are not impartial, but they're supposed to be.
And that's the problem, is that
Which
they are
is-
not doing things. They're coming very close to the rules of breaking them. Musk giving out the $1 million. They're taking him to court. So what did he do? He filed for a change of venue to put it in federal. And the federal court said, no, it stays in local, in state. Because if it's federal, it's a different defense than it is in state. So he's got to, I think tomorrow he has to go into court.
Musk is such a
Thanksgiving
clown.
this year is going to be interesting. If families or friends are divided either
Oh,
way,
yeah.
it's going to be like, it's going to be
Yeah,
crazy.
but you know, after tomorrow, it's done.
It's going to be what it's going to be.
It's finished. That's it. Win, lose, or draw. We're all Americans. Let's try to remember that. Let's try to remember that we're having. You see that color flag behind me? That's what this is about. It's not about people. It's about your country. You know, you don't go and get drafted and say, I'm not going to go because I don't believe in my country. That's an offense. It's a federal offense. You're going to serve 5 years.
So I was watching CBS Sunday Morning. It was all about the election yesterday. And they did a piece on Williamsburg, Virginia, in reenactments of what it was like back in the day. So George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Martha Washington. And they asked all these questions of what it would be like, what is it like? And they stayed in their period timepiece saying it was an election back then, and you would not want me as George Washington representing your country right now. I don't like to speak in front of people. I don't like to interact with people. And all the things George Washington stood for that he could not represent our country as it stands today. So it's an interesting perspective. And Martha was like, well, listen, he would respect anything that I wanted for my body because it's me. Interesting commentary on what it was. But I think the reenactment, and then, of course, dealing with slavery in Williamsburg and what it was
And
like.
women were property back in those days. They weren't even human beings.
So the guy that's portraying one of the slaves and one of the head of that said he almost quit. He says because he couldn't do it all the time. He couldn't live in the slavery role all the time. And one of his coworkers says, but you were giving a voice to the slaves that didn't have one. You were giving a voice to your ancestors that didn't have the voice. And he said that one comment changed his world. And he now knows this is a gift he's been given to represent, to share the voice of all the slaves in the South that didn't have that voice. He said, but he doesn't live in Williamsburg. He has to live someplace else away from where it is. And that's how he keeps his sanity to come back into it. But what an interesting change of perspective, right? He gives a voice to those that didn't have one. And I think, wow, what a gift is that he can see it that way now.
Well, you know, it's this race is so close that anything out of joint is going to raise a flag. Everything and anything, and there's already lawsuits has started to be filed because they extended the time. I think it's in Georgia for voting past 9 o'clock. I think it's going to be 10 o'clock. Because of the storms. So they said, well, we're going to extend it 1 hour because it's hard for people to get around. So the Republican side says that isn't fair. It isn't fair. Why don't we just leave it the way it is? Paper, vote, boom. And if you don't get in by now, you don't vote. You
Yeah,
know.
but Georgia's got so much controversy now. Well, they did from before. It's a mess. And if you think about what our founding fathers thought it was going to
Forget
be
about that.
to what
Not
it
that-
is now
That's
on
long gone.
everything.
The founding fathers would have no concept of what
And then
anything
they talked
is like
about
today.
immigration, but
would.
but look at our founding fathers. Look what created
immigrants.
look what created the United
mean,
States, and that's
the-
what they said. If we didn't have immigration, we wouldn't be here.
No.
So it's a whole interesting, fresh perspective on what it is.
And freedom of arms was meant because you didn't want the king and his redcoats coming into your house and taking you back to England. So you had the right to defend yourself in your own house. That's where freedom of arms came from.
Well,
Oh
you
my
had
God, it's
freedom
changed.
of arms was that so that the British could never happen in America
right.
again. If the leader became a despot, you had the right to revolt. But even then, that only worked when everyone was on a level playing field.
That's right.
This nowadays, it's
they found out
significantly
They
different.
found out the Civil War became an issue where everybody had guns, and they limited the terms to the president to 2 terms. Why didn't they do it for everybody? Why didn't they do 2 terms for every person?
Because back then it was just more a focus on making sure that the president did not become a king.
Because he was the general.
Because
of
they
the
didn't-
armies, he didn't want a king. Correct.
Because the executive and judicial branches, well, the executive, the
But even look at our sheriff in Palm Beach County. There's no term limit on that either.
well, they're not. Well,
20
yes,
22 years.
our system of government was created like 200 years ago. It has not been modernized in any meaningful way. It is still very much. All of that is set as it was back then. It needs modernization, but they won't.
It's being interpreted differently every year.
Yes,
Yeah.
because nobody treats any of it literal. Everything is up for interpretation, despite it being literal.
Roe versus Wade is the biggest interpretation of the whole thing, and abortion. Women weren't even considered people
No.
back in the day when they wrote.
I mean,
down
in Roe
laws.
versus Wade, I think they only just got the right to vote.
It's
Like-
unbelievable what's going on. But go out and vote.
When was
Exercise
Roe
your
v.
right to vote. Speak your voice, not to negate somebody else's. This is why we have to do what we do, by the way. Because everyone's entitled to have their voice, to share their opinion. But you know what? Be kind to each other. Don't fight about it. And that's what I feel is, it's the hatred. Uh-oh, what happened?
No, I'm good. I was just looking up when.
It's the hatred and the telling people they're wrong and the fighting.
Roe v.
about it.
Wade was back in 1973.
Yeah.
So women, that stood for as long as it did until recently.
Well, it's
Wow.
amazing that the United States of America has stood for over 200 years, simply because democracies, the Roman Empire and everything else, they usually come crashing down because of heads of states becoming.
Well, the Roman Empire was was very much a dictatorship.
It became, yes, and then all
was
of a
exactly
sudden
like that.
it became a king and all this stuff, and
Like
the
all
people-
empires rise and fall. It's only a matter of time.
The people that are in control of this thing, they become nuts. Look at what happened in Germany, and they begin
Yes.
to follow craziness, and what happened in Italy. I tell you, the one thing that you should never forget is history. Look at history. Learn history. Don't repeat history. Because if you look at what's happening in Iran and some of these other countries right now, in North Korea, you got to be very careful of who you put in power, not because of fear-mongering, but because of intelligence. This game now is like a giant chessboard. So you can hit buttons and destroy peoples and lives and alter countries by bankrupting them.
Do you know that Noah's Ark is in Iraq?
I heard that in the mountains.
Yes.
Then I
And
also
there's
heard,
like a map to find it.
I also heard that there was another Noah's Ark in the desert in Sudan. So there's a lot of
If you
ships
knew
all over
Noah's
the
Ark
place.
was out there, or if you knew the Holy Grail was someplace, would you go?
Yeah,
see
I
it?
saw the movie. What was the name of the movie? Holy Grail?
Indiana
Indiana Jones,
Monty
American
Python. I thought you were gonna say
Indiana
Monty
Jones.
Python, just the
Wait.
Holy Grail, but
Indiana
Indiana
Jones, the Holy
Jones, the
Grail.
Last Crusade.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry.
well, that series of movies is very much just leave history where it was, because it'll just ruin the world. But
Right? I kinda,
if the Holy Grail exists, just leave it where it is. That's just gonna start like
Another.
horrible
It's
problems.
unbelievable.
The power of,
Like
the power of what it is.
if such a thing existed, it
I went to the
Just leave it
movies
where it
last
was.
night.
What'd you see?
I don't know.
You don't know what you saw?
No.
What do you mean you don't know what you saw? You got to look it up.
Yeah.
is there anything out in the theaters now?
What is
I'm
that?
gonna
I
tell
mean-
you, I went to the theater.
Last time I was in the theater was to see Dune 2, and that was it.
No, the
No,
theater now. What's coming is tremendous. Tremendous new
For
stuff.
Thanksgiving. You've got Wicked coming out at the same time. There's another movie coming out at the same time Wicked is. They've got a whole other name for it.
But they got all sorts of good stuff. I'm gonna be going to the movies again. I can't find my stupid movie thing. And I went last night. Liam, the actor.
Liam Neeson?
Yeah, I saw his latest. Not for everybody. I'll tell you that
Scary?
right now. No, not at all. Not at all. Absolution, I think it's called. But Liam plays a movie about having, the disease you get when you're a boxer and you get punched in the head a lot.
Concussions.
And as part of it, you get Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
You know what that's called?
Dementia.
The movie's about dementia.
Lewy body dementia.
And what absolution is called. And he talks about it because he's a hitman. And you don't hire a hitman with dementia.
No.
So is it funny?
It's not funny. It was sad. Because, first of all, you don't like a hitman. First of all, I love him as an actor. Second of all, you got a hitman writing papers down as to who he's supposed to hit.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? That sounds like a comedy.
And
No, that could very easily be a comedy premise. Like,
So you got
that'd be a Naked Gun movie, I
You
swear.
got to see the movie because the way it turns upside down and inside out is ridiculous. But it's scary what you have when you're on the deep end. When you have dementia, you begin to forget how to be alive. So go see it. The
It's gotta be sad.
The beginning is a little long. You have to hang in there.
It's a slow burn.
It's a slow burn. But I got to tell you, the movie, when I went home, I sat there and I said, wow, I could find not that I'm a hitman, but I could find myself in the same deal of writing notes on how to get here, how to get home,
How to remember your breakfast?
how to remember my breakfast.
No.
It's okay because I realized I was going through email. I was going to do one thing last night. Sometimes I feel like you're going to laugh. I need like a notepad in my head, and I know that's called your brain, but I need like an organizational check-off sheet in my brain that I can open the tabs, close the tabs, because I've got one tab. I must have 50 tabs open in my brain, and then I go to do one tab, and then it leads me to something else, into something else, and I hadn't done what I was supposed to do. I had emails on one of my, what happens, I've got too many emails.
Stop. First of all, the amount of work that you do, that something slips through the cracks is not surprising. You're doing 80 different things at one time, and I can point out every 80. So who's going to be perfect on that kind of record?
I need a brain organization.
And look, he's half your age, and even he is going to have things slip because you're doing so many different things and so many different
But there's so many. There's the AMP side, there's the foundation side, there's the Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving, save the date, November 21st right here, and our first annual fundraisers, December 13th. So there's a lot of moving parts, I know. It's just all these different tabs in my brain.
I discovered that you like to overwhelm yourself.
It's a thing. It's
That
a
tracks.
You
functioning
ever
thing.
met anybody who likes to overwhelm themselves?
My sister.
Your sister.
That's my sister.
And then you watch them unravel right in front of you.
Yes. It's very
And then
much
they
so.
go, I can't believe I forgot this and that. And then they get into their own zone.
But then there are people like you that make me laugh about it. And then there are other people that be like, I can't believe you went down the rabbit hole because you should have remembered this, this, and this, but you didn't. Why didn't you? But you at least make me laugh about it.
I expect you not to remember.
I know. It's a thing. But we try. We keep going. I do. I think I put so many things on my plate to do. And then I'll add one more. Oh, wait, I got to go buy paper plates for Thanksgiving. Like, why did I need to do that 3 weeks in advance?
I have no idea.
Because in my brain, they were going to run out of paper plates for Thanksgiving, and I needed to get them. I've never been that organized.
There'll be no paper plates for Thanksgiving? Is there like a giant exodus that's coming?
And then I think, well, if they run out of those, you can get those. And this is my conversation Saturday. So I ran over to meet Michael at Party City because he said everything's on sale. Well, not everything was on sale. Only Halloween was on sale. But anyway, I got all these things, and I'm like, oh, now I'm totally prepared. Yes, it was amazing.
15%?
30.
30%?
30! Which meant,
So you bought all of Thanksgiving?
yes,
At Party City Halloween?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing I bought for Halloween on sale was spider webbing for next year for $1.99. Other than that, everything I bought was for Thanksgiving.
They didn't have my It mask?
But I am the marketer's dream. I am the person you target market with a sale. Because, and then you add Michael to the mix, where everything's on sale, which it wasn't. I go, just like everybody else goes, to buy something that doesn't exist there because Halloween is pretty much sold out. And then you buy the next holiday. And then Michael says, well, let me walk you down every aisle. So he says, we've got this and we've got this. I said, all right.
But you don't need that.
I didn't need that right now. I said, Michael, you're not running out of these. You always have
Christmas?
these. They have Christmas too. And then there were balloons.
definitely setting up for Christmas.
So here I am rationalizing what I'm buying with Michael. All right, so understand the two players here. Michael's our pirate producer that's in the studio, for those of you that don't know. Michael, do you think I need a balloon or do you think it'll pop? Well, Michael, I don't think it's still going to last until Thanksgiving, so maybe you should wait on the balloon until it gets closer.
What kind of balloon?
A turkey balloon. And then I'm like, well, if I get it now, but no, it's not really Thanksgiving yet.
Turkey balloon.
A turkey balloon. It's like this big of a blow-up helium turkey. And then I thought, what
okay.
camera shot would it be good in? We didn't really need it yet. Let me wait till it gets closer. Yes.
It's like something
this
for the
was
lawn,
my
or-
Saturday brain functioning on Thanksgiving. Insanity.
Yes, you are.
But this is
Why
America.
are you America?
This is what it is.
Dawn's pre-gaming for Thanksgiving,
Did you
and it's
see-
America's
Did
fault.
you see the president of Venezuela?
No.
Did you see what he did? He mandated Christmas in October. So the Christmas tree went up in October because it is now mandated that Christmas is celebrated. Christmas season is now. This is dictatorship for you in October.
That's because the country's so poor. They want to rush Christmas to get money in.
But that's what they're doing
yeah.
here too, right? So it wasn't even Halloween yet. We've got Thanksgiving and Christmas. At Flanagan, Santa's already up.
Yes, I saw him. I said to him, don't you
It's the
think you're a
same
little early?
thing. It's consumerism at its finest.
Did you
in
see
here.
that they chased the king and queen out of a village in Spain because of the mudslides? Nobody came to help them, so they went to see what was going on. They chased them with rocks.
Wow.
The king and the queen. You think you have
There's still a king and queen in Spain?
apparently.
I didn't think monarchy still existed.
Other than
actually.
like a figure, right? Other than in England? I
Other
don't know.
than like
So then on the news, I
figureheads.
said, that's nice. They hit it with the same rocks that they were sliding in mudslides. They hit it with those
It's
rocks.
interesting. So I realize I am definitely your target market.
I think that you shouldn't be allowed in stores.
I don't often go. And then it got even better because I started selling some clothes back and the credit, I'm like, all right, I can get a credit for these clothes that I sell back and I can get something new, but the credit doesn't work until 2 weeks. So I'm into this limbo, which I really couldn't handle the limbo. So I had
in limbo. You're in limbo because you can't bring
You
it back
really
in 2 weeks?
shouldn't let me go into stores. Let's put it that way. It's much
What the
better
heck? I didn't even
online.
know you went to meet Michael.
He put it in WhatsApp and no one even answered him. So
Because
I felt
nobody's going to go to Party City when Halloween's over. You're the only one that said, is there turkey stuff?
so I
Which
went and
there
got all the
wasn't.
Thanksgiving things. So
I went to Walmart.
how was
I
that?
bought a Christmas tree.
Did you?
No.
Oh.
I would buy them.
I was
Costco,
thinking.
Christmas.
So I was thinking where we're putting our Christmas tree this year because already Thanksgiving
big
in my
one?
head has been
It goes where it always
back
goes.
in the
Right
lobby.
there.
Or I was thinking there. Will it
Right
fit
there.
there?
Yeah.
That was my other thought. If we
Have
put
you ever
it
seen
there.
our Christmas tree?
No.
It's 15
I joined
feet.
back in September.
It's 15 feet high.
Oh,
It's going to block that TV.
You've only been here since September.
I think either September or August. Like,
Wow.
You should put it in
been
the
here- I
lobby
haven't
because
been
if you
here
put
that
it there,
long.
you're going to block the
The
TV.
TV. I was thinking where we're gonna. So right. So
TV goes to the top of
So
that
now that
TV.
I've checked Thanksgiving off in my brain, I have now moved on to Christmas. It's insane, and it's only November 4th.
Well, there's obviously something wrong with you.
And you wonder why I am the way I am on a Monday morning.
I don't wonder. I think you wonder. But you like to set yourself up for this. You
For
love,
chaos,
Yes, you love chaos. You're like Queen Chaos.
I could really be Queen Chaos for Halloween.
Are you more sane or do you like chaos?
I'm not a fan of chaos. Not really.
Do you like control chaos?
Control
Do you like control?
controlled chaos. What does that even mean?
So when the Rangers played
chaos can never be
when the
controlled.
Rangers played in the Stanley Cup, they were down 3-0 or some ridiculous thing like that, 3-1, whatever. And the captain, Messier, said, we're going to win this thing. So I went to a shirt dealer who had Rangers win the Stanley Cup, and I bought them for $1. Like 10,000 of them, or 1,000. I don't know what I bought, 5,000. And I bought them for $1. So my
You spent
ex-wife,
$5,000 on.
yeah, something like that. So my ex-wife says, "Are you insane? They're down 3-0. They're not going to win this." I go, "We'll see." They come back and they win.
Mm-hmm.
So I stood on East Tremont selling the shirts for $75 to $100, depending on the color, because I had dual colors. I sold out in 15 minutes. I tripled my money in 15 minutes.
That's nice.
That is controlled chaos. But don't ask me why I did that, because I would never do that again. Like if the Yankees were down, I wouldn't have bet. The Mets, I wouldn't have bet. No way. Control chaos.
Control chaos. That's my brain. All right, you ready to wrap this up? Get ready for midday. We've got. Do you have the guitar people coming in today from Fitzy?
It's supposed to be tomorrow.
We're not here tomorrow, but
I got a call.
I've got MJ Stout. She's coming in. Remember the artist we met? That's going to help us with the fundraisers.
Oh, yes,
She's
the
coming in
artist.
today, which will be exciting. I think Helen Archer's coming in for a special Monday rendition of our astrology, which we're rolling right into what's happening. And
She's
then
coming in Wednesday.
she's coming in today, unless she changed with you. I
Helen?
don't know. Yeah.
She wrote on Facebook she's going to come in Wednesday.
Oh, all right. Then I guess she's coming in Wednesday. And we got
on
Sally
Wednesday,
coming.
Yeah, Sally. The other thing is, Don Pablo Coffee is going to be working with the foundation, which we are allowed to do online, not the radio, but we are allowed to say there is a fundraiser that we are going to be doing for the foundation. It's a $20 raffle where you can get, first prize is
A
a
Honda
car,
CRX or, yeah.
and second prize is a cruise.
I didn't even know about the second prize.
And the third prize, I have to get back to you because Gio did the investigation. Because, you know, Gio, he's Captain Kuzo. I want to know if this is legit. It's legit. But we have the tickets in-house if you want to purchase them. We're working on a system where you can also call us and we will put your ticket in, hold it on the side, reserve in our vault in the wall.
Another
if you
tab in
want.
my brain to open up.
And then the winner will be announced on December 7th on a cruise line, and everybody that buys a ticket is invited.
There's a lot of great stuff happening. I'm so excited. If you are interested in sponsoring or working with us on the foundation for our fundraiser to support Ant Media Futures Foundation, it is the love and the heart and everything that goes right out of the studio. It's all of our interns that work with us from all across the universities, locally and afar. So this fundraiser is to benefit them and what they do and to keep their hearts and souls in media production.
Absolutely.
So all of that's coming out. So more to come. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Have a great morning, everyone. Stay safe. Be kind to each other. Go vote. Make your voice be heard. And we'll see you midday.
Don't be late.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Brooklyn Cafe Morning Show. My mug is empty, and you know what that means.
I think it means it's time for a coffee refill.
As we prepare for other shows here at the Ant Media Production Studios.
Tune in for more fun and laughs at 12 o'clock for our afternoon show.
And remember to like, follow, and subscribe on our page.
Have a great morning, everyone. Stay safe and be kind to each other.
And don't be late.